So the second part of that question is, does the court have to follow the guardian ad litem's recommendations? And the short answer is no. The real answer is, yeah, that's going to happen. That's why I think that picking the guardian ad litem is the single most critical part of your custody battle. And if you're going to spend $3,000 on any part of the case, it really needs to be spent right there, because the GAL is just crucially influential. It's absurd how influential the GAL is, and that's the reality we're dealing with. So you got to play with it like that. It's just the rules of the game. I don't make them. So the court doesn't have to follow the guardian ad litem's recommendations, but by God, it's going to happen. So if you don't like the guardian ad litem's recommendations, what do? Well, you call that GAL, that attorney, as a witness at the trial, and you try to attack their report and their credibility. The way you most likely do that is you draw attention to the investigative mechanisms. Did they look at this page of the medical report? Interesting. Why not? Or did you talk to this person? Interesting. Why not? Did you talk to this person? Oh, you did. Well, what did you think about this? Oh, you mean you didn't see anything wrong with the fact that there was the arrest record on that person or something? So you're trying to not only attack the investigative process, because if the investigation was flawed or if its foundation is weak, then the recommendations emanating therefrom presumably also are weak. So that's what you're attacking as much as you can, and then try to show some bias or some impartiality on the part of the GAL in order to attack the recommendations. But it's tough. I mean, once you get those recommendations in, that's kind of all there is to it. So that's why it's the most important. That's why picking the GAL is the biggest part of the game, and we'll all spend a lot of motions and time in little skirmishes about that. I mean, that really is going to end up being the end of the game. So some tips, because this person is so influential and so powerful, some of the techniques I share with my clients on how to talk with the GAL and how to interact with the GAL. There's one, you just do everything that GAL asks you to do. You don't question it. You just do it and you say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You need to be an angel with that GAL. I mean, if you can't act nice with the one person who is holding your custody of your child in the balance, then you're not gonna get it. If you're mean or rude to the GAL, it's not gonna happen. If you seem defensive or like you're hiding something, the GAL is gonna sniff it out. So, I mean, ideally the GAL is objective. In reality, they're not, especially if you are rude to that GAL. But then also if you start bad-mouthing the other parent, the GAL is going to be like, you seem a little desperate. Why are you bad-mouthing so much? And that will end up hurting you more than it does the other parent. So there are ways, and I coach my clients on how to bring these things up. I mean, yes, of course, there might be concerns that let's say, for example, the other parent, when you were married or when you were living with the parent, got drunk every night, drank 8 beers every night, passed out on the couch, and you every morning had to wake him up and get him out of the living room before the kids came down because you were too embarrassed for him to see him. So yeah, that's a concern. That certainly speaks to whether or not his alcoholism is still going to impair his ability to rear the children or not. So I would encourage the client to bring this up with the GAL in a kind of a concerned way. Mr. GAL, I am a little worried. I wonder how we can help Dad overcome what I perceived as overconsumption of alcohol. He was drinking a lot of beers, and I really had to wake him up and kind of carry more of his weight. What's his plan for addressing that? Is he going to go to substance use counseling? Is he going to have another person there to help when he's incapacitated? What's the plan there, Mr. GAL? As opposed to, he was a raging alcoholic deadbeat who did nothing. One is so much more influential and persuasive with that GAL, and that's what the GAL wants. The GAL, I'm a GAL on a lot of cases. I hate when the parents bicker with each other and they just try to undermine the other parent. That just really, really rubs me the wrong way. And I try to be incredibly objective. And if I struggle with it, and the other GALs, I'm sure, struggle with it. And instead, I'm like, oh wow, this parent is genuinely thinking about the kid first, not what parent gets what or anything like that. This parent knows that having stable dual parent relationships is going to put that kid in the best place possible. That means a lot to me, and I'm going to be more inclined to award that parent the benefit of the doubt in many cases, but also probably majority of parenting time and significant decision-making responsibility. And there is that factor that says the willingness of one parent to facilitate a close and continuing relationship with the other parent is a factor for determining the child's best interest. So if you're able to do that, the GAL has something they can hang their hat on and say, yeah, Judge, all those other factors were an issue against this parent, but this was the only parent who appeared to have any concern with making sure everybody was involved in this kid's life. That's gonna be pretty heavy, and weigh well for that parent with the judge at that point. So I've kind of strayed a little bit from, does the court have to follow the guardian ad litem's recommendations? The answer is no. 99% of the time, absolutely, it's going to happen, and you can try to fight them by calling the JAL up as a witness and attack the investigative process, find flaws, missed documents, missed clues, if you will, along with attacking the GAO's credibility. And that's really all you can do at that point. And even then, it's going to be a tough fight. So rather than wait till you get the recommendations, instead, get a good GAL who is going to be partial to you. Once you work with enough GALs, like our firm has, we know who is a little more in favor of, I guess I don't want to, you got to be politically correct, but sometimes these things are, and I understand I'm a white male, but some GALs are biased toward black fathers, where other GALs aren't. If they're more inclined to say this dad is fighting the quote unquote stereotype, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So you need to hire attorneys who know those GALs and who will be able to get them appointed for you, because it really can play a factor. And we have dozens. We know which GAL is going to be best for which particular cases we have. If there's alcohol involvement, we know who is going to be more of a fan of the AA process versus the person, the GAL, who is not is not going to have any remorse or any forgiveness for an alcoholic and is concerned about abuse. If there's domestic violence, we have GALs who have seen the I don't know, healing is not the right word, but rehabilitation of an abuser who can have a good relationship with his or her kids thereafter. Then we have the GALs who, on the other hand, is absolutely not. They've seen the abuser go on to harm the kids after the divorce, and so that's the GAL that's going to be against the alleged abuser and so on. So you need to have those things in place and ready to roll with picking your GAL.